Welcome back, everyone. My name is Emily Gear. I'm a transformative energy healer and multidimensional channel. And I just opened the akashic records, and the messages for myself started pouring in so hard that I feel a little bit knocked out right now. But we're going to go ahead with this reading anyway. Okay. I hope you guys are doing well. This last week's new moon in Taurus, I think, brought in a lot of change energy for a lot of people, maybe a lot of unexpected stuff. I do know that there were some sort of, I don't know, because I'm not an astrologer, and I don't even think that I looked appropriately before making this recording, but I do know that there were aspects to Uranus this past week with this new moon, so I am sure that that is part of the abruptness and the shakeup and the feelings that some of us are having. And I think the energy of suddenness has been coming through in a lot of the readings recently. So that could be why. I know that this week has been insane for me. I just want to ask you guys to keep a positive thought for my mom, who I had to take to the ER on Tuesday night, and with an intestinal issue. So she's been struggling a little bit and is struggling again today. So if you guys can keep a positive thought, I would so appreciate it. I've been helping my dad care for my severely disabled brother while she's in the hospital. And of course, I'm always there helping regardless, but it's just, this is how our family is. So we hope that for her own sake that she gets better soon. And same to all of you who have family members in the hospital at this time, or those of you who could have even lost family members for a variety of reasons. So thanks, guys, for being here. And I'm hoping for, I don't even want to say this week was bad. It wasn't. There has been a lot of good stuff that has come through this week. And one of the energies that I'm feeling is that of challenge, but of being able to rise to it. And the image that I was just shown in a message for myself was like a plate or a flat surface with all kinds of like marbles rolling on it, and trying to kind of control all the marbles at once really involves bringing that plate to a centered point, to a balanced centered point, and then the marbles stop, except for the ones that fall off the edge or, run into another one and knock the other one off. And that we're supposed to not be overly critical of those marbles, because we're in exactly the place that we need to be, and that we are mastering this idea of balance and centeredness and being able to weather the storm or bring ourselves to internal balance. And that's what we've been doing. So I do feel like that is applicable to the entire collective, and just know that you are where you need to be, as I am always saying, but I want to keep repeating that because it can be hard for even me to remember at certain times. So with all of that said, here again is my website as usual. If you would like to schedule a private one-on-one healing session or reading, and there are also some other options by email that are available on my site. Just check it out. I will be adding some more options soon. Between my full-time job with animal rescue, which has gotten extremely busy since the quarantines started, and family issues and my personal health issues and things like that, I have not been able to dedicate the time, but I am planning on it. I feel called to it. I feel pushed to it. We're approaching my midheaven at 3 degrees Gemini, so I do think that in the very near future I will be doing more work in stabilizing, how my healing practice is moving forward. So do know that there will be some new things coming up in divine timing as I can get it done, because one of my major lessons is knowing that you cannot do everything at once. So in any case, I'll stop rambling. Some of you have already clicked off the video. Oh well. We're going to use my Russian romantic or Victorian romantic tarot today. I love this deck. I'm going to go ahead and do some reversals because sometimes that's fun. And we're going to look at the energies coming in for this week, the next 7 days or so. Today is April 24th, but it's valid for the next 7 days whenever you find this video, okay? I often find that a lot of the messages that come through my videos are often valid for 2 weeks, 2 weeks in advance. So I don't know, maybe most of you are seeing these like 2 weeks in the 2 weeks later after I record them. I don't know. I will stop rambling. All right, so let's just ask Source Creator for messages for the collective to help us with this coming week, please. This next 7 days. For the collective. Secretly, I'm like, give us something good. Or not so secretly. Okay, these all came out in reverse. Sort of. They kind of turned right side up as they came out. I'm going to read them just however they come through intuitively, and I have to turn them right side up because I can't read Russian upside down. I just can't. Okay, so what we have here is the Eight of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the King of Swords. I'm sorry, the Queen of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. Eight of Wands, Page of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, Ace of Wands. I am hearing, and it is partially because of this Ace of Wands card, a light in the darkness at this time. So, and I do feel that I have said those words possibly in the last video. So know that that energy is continuing. But I feel in this case that you have taken on the light and you are the light in the darkness. So whatever sort of upgrades or changes or healings that you've received in this past week have taken effect and made a difference for you. I feel like you have been challenged with this Queen of Swords here. But there is a sense of beginner mind happening right now that I'm getting. That's the Page of Pentacles here, where it's that you are looking at everything as a learning opportunity. And I feel like that's really important because instead of the experience becoming a burden, it becomes a learning opportunity, which helps you to, they're actually saying, to leapfrog past circumstances that would have held you up before. So if you feel like you are in a tense time, but you are still trying to take it step by step and learn what you can out of it, or experience things in a different way which does not mirror the patterns which you have perpetrated potentially throughout your entire life, then you are being that light in the darkness. That is what is required at this time to be your best self. That this still is a time of overcoming obstacles with these mountains in the background. And as you can see, she looks very determined to do whatever it is that she's going to do. In my mind, she's going to traverse those mountains. And yet she is not overly emotional. She's not overly emotional about it at all. She's got all of that in check, but she's also not overly anxious about it. She's very much in her balanced mind, determined mind, and beginner mind with this. And again, the beginner mind is about seeing things through new eyes, not through the patterns of the past. There is a good deal of downloaded energy coming in. I feel like it is affecting the physical body, and that you may feel it in the physical body, that you may feel energized on some days and really depleted on others. Primarily, I feel energized. This white stag is coming through as a feeling of physical strength and stamina and it's actually, I'm hearing self-awareness, but what it feels like is it's like inner strength. Why can't I come up with the word? It doesn't matter. What they gave me was self-awareness, but what I'm also feeling is that ability of you with your own physical body able to overcome whatever physical needs arise. So know that all of the levels of your mind, your emotions, and your body and your energy are all working together right now to essentially bring you into this balanced space where you are balancing those marbles on the plate, okay? And that your success here depends on your ability to take the well-worn grooves in your emotional patterning out of the scenario. This is the healing, okay? And that's not to say that your emotions are bad or shouldn't be felt or whatever, but there are often thought patterns behind. There are emotions and there are thought patterns that are behind the behaviors that you have historically it's almost like fallen into. It's almost like you're not even consciously choosing many of these behaviors, you're just doing them. So there has been a lot of this kind of messaging in the last few weeks about changing the thoughts and changing the ways that we deal with emotions and stuff like that. I feel like the message is slightly different every week because there's a new lesson every week, but it's all about creating this new self, okay? Being the light in the darkness, becoming the highest version of yourself, being the light worker, being the healer, being the whatever it is that your purpose, your highest purpose is. And you may or may not know that, but what always comes through because I do a life purpose channeling for people, that's available on my website. More and more often they are getting more and more specific because I think people are coming into the place where they're ready for all of that. But at the same time, many times, what comes through is that you don't need to know what that is, that you are working on an energetic level toward that, as long as that is your intention, okay? So don't be thrown off if you don't know exactly what that means, what that is, that purpose, okay? Likewise, if you are feeling stuck, then the key is to pull back on the mental and emotional level and simply have a rational and somewhat detached one foot in front of the other approach is what they're kind of showing me here. To not assign different your expectations of a certain event or circumstance to it, because every event and every circumstance can be a brand new circumstance if you decide to change things. If you decide this is the day I'm not repeating my cycle, right? Okay, let's get some more messages for the collective, please. This is the Emperor. And that feels very appropriate because what I feel like they're talking about here is taking control of the one thing that you can control, and that is your thoughts and your actions, okay? And making them into... So there's this book called The Four Agreements, and there is one section that says, they're leading me here, but they're not giving me the words. The one section that says nothing is personal, essentially. Whatever the words are, it's something like that. Nothing is personal. And so that is kind of what we're going at here. Whatever's happening, it's not personal. You can't take it personally. So taking the thought patterns, the cyclical thought patterns and feelings out of it, taking things step by step in a practical way and a determined way. And that is the control that you have over this. 9 of Cups. So Emperor and 9 of Cups. Let's see what else wants to come out. Whole lot flipped. All right, we'll take them. So we had the Emperor and 9 of Cups. Now we have the Wheel of Fortune. Goes great with those. The 2 of Pentacles. My Russian is shabby at this time. The Devil in reverse. The 2 of Wands in reverse. The 4 of Cups in reverse. The King of Cups. And the 5 of Swords in reverse. So I am feeling that through this taking control of your own thoughts and actions, the only things you can have control over, everything else you must release control of. That this is what's bringing in this kind of balance, this balancing act here. Okay, with that dog standing on the drum there, the little girl kind of leading him along. It's like the dog is kind of your lower self, and the girl, sort of the fairy princess girl, is the higher self, kind of leading this dog along in an orchestrated balancing act, okay? And that this is a turn of events very much in your for your highest and best good, in your benefit, okay? With the 9 of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune next to each other here, following the Emperor, that sort of supreme underlying force of will and self-control, and all the positive things about that, right? Because we can take control down a very dark road too, but there is dark and light in every one of these cards, right? They represent the wholeness, right? They don't represent one duality or the other. So this is really more information about bringing yourself into that balance. Now, we've got the Devil next to the 2 of Wands in reverse and the 4 of Cups. I feel like this is almost a caution about getting down in the dumps about your situation, not looking the way that you wanted it to in some level. Maybe it does. You know, there might be parts of it that are literally this 9 of Cups, this dream come true, this sort of creation of our own realities in accordance with our own dreams. But I feel that there is also this sense of the heart overcoming the ego here with the King of Cups and the 5 of Swords, and that in some ways we are really profoundly and maybe painfully releasing ideas about the way that we wanted things to look in our lives, or the way that we wanted things to play out, or the way that we cooked it up in our heads for different egoic reasons, whether it made us feel good about ourselves. It's just something we always imagined. That doesn't mean it's bad, okay? So don't take it that way in any way. It's just that there might be a different path. And there is always another path, but there might be a different highest path, okay? And if you're choosing to be on your highest path, it is definitely time to allow some of the things that are not serving you to go. So that could come down to a pattern of eating junk food at night. It could come down to a pattern of people pleasing. It could come down to, codependently intervening in everyone's disasters And I feel like that's the level of stuff we're talking about. We're talking about things that have developed throughout a lifetime of trying to balance, but balancing in a way that doesn't actually balance anything. It actually depletes, and that's why this devil in reverse is here. So it's about choosing another way, choosing the highest path, which might not be the obvious path. Seeing outside of your own vision for the future. There is this conception that the way that we manifest is to visualize fully the future in the way that we want to see it, but this is not accurate, because when we are doing that, we are operating from a lower version of the mind, or the egoic self, which is piecing together pieces and does not have access to the higher timeline. And in order to allow the higher timeline to flow in, we need to let go of our attachment to and release the various pieces that were put together by the lower and egoic mind. That this is not something to feel upset about or blame yourself about, that this is the human condition and the cycle that we go through in developing our connection to our highest self, that this is a pivot point, an important turning point in your understanding of the actual depth of your own power, that we have been very much the light under the bushel for a long time, and that this light is beginning to show because we are beginning to see outside of the confines of the mind. And the mind itself is much more limitless than we ever imagined. So how much more limitless are all of the possibilities outside of the confines of the mind? All right, that was the direct channel. I'm not sure what I said, but the feeling is still there. Like, I'm getting this really direct feeling that some of you are going to feel disappointed at the change or turn of events that may have just occurred, or maybe in the process of occurring. It is about releasing that disappointment, because it is not a disappointment. It is only an upset of that previously held vision, which was a timeline, but perhaps not your highest timeline. Where you are going is this Emperor with the 9 of Cups, but you are in the process of going there. The Wheel of Fortune, it's turning. This also tells me that they just showed me Jupiter. This also tells me this has something to do with Jupiter's transit, where it is, etc. That may mean something to you guys who are super into astrology. I do not personally know what that means right now, but look for that. All right, let me grab a few other cards here. What do I want to get? I'll get some of these Divine Doors for the collective, please. Divine Doors for the collective. I hope you guys don't hear this stuff and think it's bad news. It's not, because like I think I remember myself just saying that this is part of the human condition. It's part of our growth. And so whether we're in times that feel good or feel negative, this is neither good nor negative. It just is part of the change, part of the turning of the wheel, part of the growth and expansion. Okay. A couple more messages, please, for the collective. 1, trust the universe. Intuition has wandered and led you astray. The timing's not yours, but the universe at play. Have faith and breathe. Sometimes these cards say things that are weird and they trigger me, like intuition has wandered and led you astray. But I think it's because their words are not chosen all the time in the best way. So the point of this card is to say that that you need to trust the universe, that there is a larger plan that you might not know, again, in your lower mind. and they're saying intuition, but I feel like this is a sense of like what you thought you knew. And you know what? That's not completely inaccurate, because intuition really is this kind of amalgam of all these different things, these different experiences and thoughts and feelings and whatever, and emotions. And as you learn to tune that up, it becomes more highly vibrational and more accurate. But when you are just sort of learning to kind of, it's almost like moving through a foggy bog or like swamp. It can sometimes be a little bit illusory. So trust the universe, because there is a higher mind at play. There is a divine mind at play here. Have faith and breathe. So that just means to me, give up the control of what you cannot control. Control what you can control. Don't try to control what you can't control, right? Next one, freedom flows. Don't hold yourself back from worldly freedom. Dream grand things for a divine, sacred reason. So I feel like open up to the highest possibilities. And that means, and that directly links into, for me, links into this idea of trusting the universe. That is opening you up to expansive freedom. And to me, both of these cards link back into Jupiter, because Jupiter sort of representing this kind of Jupiter also being equal to Zeus, which represents this huge like fatherly godlike figure, right? And also representing expansion and luck and positivity, that as we tap into that energy, that we allow this freedom to flow. Now, freedom also, to me, can relate to Uranus, which is in Taurus at this time, and we have definitely had some interesting interactions with Uranus. So again, I don't know why they always bring me back to the planets when I don't know what I'm talking about with them, but I just want to bring that up in case you are into it. You can look closer at the charts. And just allow the energies of that these planets represent to flow through you, because that's where we are. We are at the point of freedom. We are at the point of trust. And that helping us and allowing us to overcome obstacles that are not being dropped in our path necessarily right now, but are all part of a long chain in historical events of our lives, or our past lives, or our emotional lives even. Okay? So whatever that means to you, whatever that applies to in your life, what this message feels empowering to me. I am keenly aware as a human being and as someone who also has an ego like everyone else, that many of my messages sound very similar, and that they are always giving messages about what we need to release and blah, blah, blah. But that is truly what we need to be doing, and what we have needed to be doing for a very long time, okay, for years. So please just know that I'm not delivering the same messages to you. I am truly giving this to you as it comes through. And I don't know why I grabbed this Kipper deck, but I did, so let's see what comes out. Maybe for the more practical message. Let's see what wants to come. Messages for the collective. Okay, we've got concern. And main female. You may have a concern for an important female in your life, me, my mom, right? Is that going to flip? It didn't, but it feels hot. Great fortune. All right. Well, I feel like this is a message saying, listen, on the practical level, if you've got concern about a woman in your life, whether it's a wife, a mother, a sister, a daughter, yourself even, or something, something regarding a woman or in your life, including possibly yourself, then just know this. Here it is with the Wheel of Fortune, great fortune with the Wheel of Fortune. Just know that things are working out as in the highest and best way. I can never really say what that means, but I definitely got the feeling of it's going to be okay. All right, whatever it is. So I'm going to take this as a message for myself and a message for my mom. You may take this in whatever way makes sense to you. It could also be about the feminine. If you are a man and you feel like this is about you, it could also be about the feminine half of your nature, the receiving half of your nature. Okay, so take it as it resonates for you personally. And finally, I'm going to pull a sacred geometry card. I have not used these in forever. Let's just see what comes out. Card for the message for the collective, please, to go along with this reading. That's way too many. Keep going, a bunch fell out here. Maybe I should, oh, that fell off as I was moving that. Oh my God. As I was shuffling, I was like, I'll die if freedom comes out, because we just had the freedom flows card. Freedom. So I want you to know that whatever you're going through right now is to free you from these past devil sort of circumstances, these past chains, the things that have held you back in whatever way. All right. And I want to say that those things may or may not be within your control. But there is a freedom coming in. Okay. There are choices that you can make within the situation, but the larger situation may or may not be within your control at all. And that just came through. So for whoever that's for. And this is the front side of the card. So these are specific geometric patterns that were channeled by the author of this deck, whose name I cannot remember right now. And what I've done in the past is ask that the sequence be superimposed upon our auric fields if it is in our highest and best good. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you now with this freedom patterning to help allow the flow of any non-beneficial energies release from our energy field on all levels, and to bring in the freedom that is needed to truly embody this Ace of Wands energy, the light and the darkness. Okay, so let's do a theta healing surrounding this. Well, I probably can't technically call this theta healing because it's just me using theta healing to do something weird. But so let's do a healing around this. All right. And if you do not want to receive this, that is fine. If you would like to receive this healing, please say yes out loud now. If you give me permission to ask Source Creator to overlay the sacred geometry of freedom over your energy field on all levels, to allow for the healing, for whatever healing is needed for your highest and best good, with grace and ease now, please say yes out loud. And I'm going to go up and make the request, and just notice what you see, feel, and hear during this time, okay? feel the need to take a lot of deep breaths, so go ahead and do that. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Just allowing that energy to settle. Allowing that feeling of expansiveness and freedom to settle into your energy field as well. Accepting it, not blocking it. Allowing it to expand wherever it needs to go. Being in full acceptance in the heart area and the mind area. For our highest and best good with grace and ease. All right, so do let me know if you experienced anything during that, how that felt. If you have any comments, I really appreciate your likes, subscribes, and shares, and all of your comments. I do plan to do another Soul Connections reading later this week, so keep your eyes open for that. Until then, guys, I will see you later. Here is my website one last time. And talk to you all soon. All right? Bye.